Hello Slapafish community, and welcome back to another World of Tanks console video. So in this video, I'm going to be going over the top 10 most played tanks in October in Cold War. This is the Cold War list, and yeah. So also, if you enjoy this video, consider subscribing because it helps and it's free. So let's just go ahead and get on with this video. So the number 10 spot for the most played Cold War tanks in October is the Era 1 French Western Alliance medium tank, the Lorraine 40T, with 34,757 battles played in it. So this tank is it's an autoloader. It has a 90 mil or 100 mil. So the 100 mil has 6 shots in a clip. 6 shots in a clip doing 300 damage per shot, 1800 in its potential, has 8 degrees of gun depression, and it is one of the fastest medium tanks in this game, going 72 kilometers per hour with a great horsepower per ton at 25.3. Great medium tank, and I understand why it's the most played, since Leclerc client is actually quite good. So let's move on to the number 9 on this list. It's the Era 1 American Western Alliance light tank, and it's the Bulldog, the M41A1 Bulldog, with 36,891 battles played in the month of October. So this tank, it's fast, 80 kilometers. It's right above the Chaffee. It does 200 damage per shot. I'm thinking about World War II stats. It is very fast, very mobile, 10 degrees of gun depression, and anybody that plays this entire line of the M1A2 line or any of the Western Alliance light tanks says this is their favorite out of the line. But my favorite is the one before it, the Chaffee. So let's move on to the number 8 spot. So the number 8 spot is the Thumper. The Era 3 Western Alliance tank destroyer. So this tank has been in 39,855 battles. It does 700 damage per shot, and it's basically an M1A2 with a 140 millimeter gun. So a 1A2. So basically it has the armor of the M1A2 with a bigger gun. That's pretty much it. It has gun depression, it has the alpha, it has speed. I believe this Thumper is a little bit slower than the actual 1A2, but I don't know what stats are different. This was I believe it was an Ultimate Season Pass tank a while ago. So let's move on to the number 7 spot. This is everybody's favorite little Era 3 Western Alliance tank destroyer, the Weasel 1A1 TOW. With 44,154 battles played in it, this tank does not need any introduction, has really good camo. It only fires ATGMs. Its max speed is one of the fastest in the game, going 80 kilometers. And its penetration on its ATGMs is 801,000. And it also does this actually tell me at the arming distance. It does not tell me the arming distance on the website. Well, that's a shame. Anyway, this 25-second reload, fast, good camo, and only fires ATGMs. And I believe this was never an Ultimate Season Pass. It's just a random tank that you could buy. Huh. Let's move on to a tank that was either a Season Pass tank or an Ultimate Season Pass tank. The Object 292, a Era 3 Eastern Alliance heavy tank with 46,502 battles played. This makes this tank the 6th most played tank in Cold War, with one of the highest standard penetration in Cold War that is not an ATGM at 900 millimeters of penetration with a 152.4 millimeters caliber gun, doing 760 damage on its AP and 980 on its high explosive. This tank is fast. It doesn't have the armor, but it's fast, slow profile, and it has good alpha. And it does have terrible gun depression, as I was trying to demonstrate as I figured out in this replay. Trying to work ridge lines does not work with 4.5 degrees of gun depression. But it is pretty fast at going at 70 kilometers, so So let's move on to the number 5th spot. Now, this one actually does not surprise me. Well, it surprises me that it's still on this list, but it doesn't. The number 5th list is the FB-4211, an Era 2 Western Alliance heavy tank that is one of the oldest premium tanks in Cold War, but also is one of the most played tanks ever when it first came out, and it stayed at the number 1 spot for so long. The FB-4211 was a ultimate season pass tank. This tank it's super slow for Cold War, going only 48.3 kilometers, has a good gun at 440, but this tank has the armor. This tank was all about the armor, and nobody could figure out where to pin this. And I think I made one video of where to pin this tank. This tank has great gun, slow mobility, great armor. But that's pretty much all it needs. That great gun and that armor made it one of the most powerful and most played tanks of Cold War of all time. So let's go on to the number 4 spot, which is the Era 1 Western Alliance medium tank with 54,960 battles played in it. This is the T95E3. Now, all new players get this tank for free. It is one of the first Cold War premium tanks in the game. It's one of two. This one and the T55A. Now, the T95E3 has good mobility, decent mobility, going 56.3 forward. Can go hold down, has really good armor for being classified a medium tank, and does 390 damage per shot, and makes really good silver. And every new player that starts the game gets the T95E3 for free, which is really nice for new players to get a good medium tank that can go hold down and still has the armor to put out to withstand. So that's really good. So let's move on to the number 3 spot. This is one of Ricky Tikitame's favorite tank. It may actually be his favorite tank, and it did have pulled the fastest tank in the game at one point for a very long time. It is the FV-107. And this tank has been in 64,301 battles played. This tank has been buffed 1 or 2 times. It used to only do 25 damage per shot, but now it does 40 damage per shot. It goes 86.9 forward, and what beats it out now is the RU-251 in Cold War. This tank, if you can max out the speed with powertrain, traction system, and fuel, you can go get your top speed from 86.9 to 105 kilometers, which is really fun, and you can hold it at 105. Imagine going 105, but it is very easy to get yourself killed. This tank is all about the mobility. Its gun is kind of lackluster, but this tank is all about the mobility and having just fun of how fast this tank is. Now, let's move on to the number 2 spot, which is the Bagel Panzer. Yes, it's the Blight Panzer, but I'm going to call it the Bagel Panzer because Bagel Panzer is so much funner to say. With way more battles than the number 3 spot and only half of the number 1 spot. This tank has been in 84,322 battles, which is an Era 2 Western Alliance light tank, the Bagel Panzer. Yes. Its forward speed and reverse speed are literally the same at 82.9, going forward and backwards. This tank is a multi-weapon system with ATGMs on secondary, and it's a powerful 57mm. It doesn't have great damage or great interclip, but putting those two things it does have together, its speed. It's 80 gems, and it's okay, good gun, but it also has good accuracy on its main gun. Its damage per minute is 3,429. Its penetration is quite good at 245 on its standard, 270 on its premium for being a light tank. And this tank could rip anything apart. And it was really terrifying without the minimum arming distance. Now we move on to the number 1 spot. The number 1 spot I mentioned before has double the amount of battles that the Bagel Panzer had. Remember, the Bagel Panzer only had 84,000 battles, which was 20,000 more than the number 3 spot. And the 4,000 and the Bagel Panzer is the second most played tank between World War II and Cold War of October. And this tank is the most played tank of October, no matter if you're talking about World War II or Cold War, which is the FV 4005 Stage 2. This tank hits hard, does 1,100 damage, 1,450 damage if you load your HES and be able to pin it. It used to be fast. Well, it's still fast at 52.3 kilometers. This tank did get nerfed. I think it was in what's before October. I think it was September. This tank recently received a nerf, and it has definitely not held the tank back in battles played. The 4005 is still really high up there on battles played, doubling even the number 2 spot. This tank has the gun, it has somewhat good mobility, and it has the camo. This tank is really powerful, it's really fun, and can actually be way better if a person knows how to use it. Anyway, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Ultimate Slapafish, because more than that, it beats out. See ya.